So, Raoul, for people who are watching this and listening, they might be like, okay, that sounds amazing. That sounds like such the life, but I'm fucked. As you said, the system is rigged. I'm pissed. My mortgage is this, my insurance, the maintenance costs, or whatever it is. And they might be like, okay, but how do I do it? Because maybe you were at the right time in the right market at the right moment back in the day when your salary, you say, was like probably 3 times or something. So for you buying the house, the $200,000 was boom, there it is. Done. I won the game. But let's bring that to 2024. Let's pretend that aliens land in your backyard right now. And they tell you, Raoul, explain to me what's going on.
You're calling Lauren an alien.
By the way, thank you, Lauren, for helping us. I appreciate it. Shout out to Lauren Mark, who's the producer of this podcast today. Let's say aliens appear right now and say, Raoul, explain to me what's going on with the financial system in 30 seconds right now. What's happening?
It's the same story. Too much debt, and everyone has to serve, and not enough economic activity to pay for the debt. So if you go back, you've got a big credit card bill. If your wages aren't going up, your credit card bill keeps going up by 20% a year by interest. Before you know it, your credit card bill just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can't pay it back. Now, governments are lucky because what they've got is the ability to print money.
Right.
We don't get that. But it's the equivalent of getting another credit card to pay your credit card.
Yeah.
That's what's going on as the population of most of the Western world gets older. Old people, if you think of your parents or your grandparents, they spend less money and they don't do productive work because they've retired. So we're fighting this mega trend of the baby boomers from World War II. The kids who got born after World War II are now in their 70s. And that was the largest cohort of people in all history. And so what we've got is slow growth, but massive debt. So what is happening is governments are having to print more money. And again, anybody from South America understands this. They print more money to pay the debt. But your wages don't go up. They only go up a bit. But what happens is things like houses, scarce assets, houses, gold, or even your ability to buy US stocks, they just keep going up. So you're getting poorer. Your wages buy less. I'm not talking about buying bread and cheese. I'm talking about buying assets. What is an asset? An asset is future deferred consumption. You buy an asset like stocks. Let's say you buy an ETF in the S&P 500. Why do you buy that? Because in the future, you want to sell it to be able to spend the money.
For a profit, yeah.
Or pass it on to your kids, whatever it is, but it's to be spent. And it's supposed to have a rate of return above inflation because you need to be compensated for locking your money up for 20 years,
right,
or whatever the period of time is. But what we're finding is that those things, so that future opportunity for yourself, is becoming more unaffordable. It took me 3 times income to buy my first house, and now for the average person it's 10 times income. Oof. So you can buy less of a house. You can buy a third of a house versus what I could buy with the same economic circumstances. You know, when I was 28 years old, most people can't do it now. So this is the problem that is happening in the world, and this is not going away. And so governments are printing money to keep servicing this debt, which is, again, for anybody here who's from Argentina, Venezuela, anywhere, even Ecuador, everybody's done it. And then eventually the system collapses. The system doesn't collapse this time around because it's the US doing it, and the Europeans, and the Chinese. But it's really the US system of fiat money. Don't forget, the dollar is the world's reserve currency. Again, anybody from Latin America knows, what do they want? Dollars. They don't really give a shit about anything else. They want dollars. And dollars are 87% of world trade. It makes the world go round. The world is 400% of GDP in debt, of which 200% of that is dollars. Dollars, 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 dollars. And the US controls it all. It's called the world's reserve currency.
Right.
So when they debase currency, it's very difficult for them to lose control unless the entire world loses faith in the dollars. But then where do they go? There's no other currency. What are you going to do? Buy the euro? No, it's equally shit. Arguably worse. So they have this privilege of having the world's reserve currency. And then they debase it, and scarce assets across the world go up. So it's making everybody poorer. Everyone's in the same boat. It's like a slow motion version of what happened in, let's say, Venezuela. But it's just slow. It's 8% a year. So you don't see it. It's not like 1,000,000% hyperinflation.
Right.
8% a year, but you're getting poorer by 8%. Then there's inflation on top. Call that 3%. So 11% a year, your wages are getting poorer.
Yeah, and to bring that to the layman example, if you have $100 in your account, next year will be 89 of purchasing power for that amount.
Yeah.
So by doing nothing, you're getting just poorer. And so you need to find a vehicle that surpasses that 11%. And then we get into this conversation of
we were told as kids would save money.
Right.
Well, so you need to save 11% of your income every year to just stand still. Right, so that doesn't work. And then you can say, okay, if you're in the US or the UK or something, they'll say, well, invest in your pension and buy the S&P 500, buy stocks. Great, sounds good, because stocks go up by about 11% a year, 12% a year.
On average, because they're in the recessions and this and that, but usually the average is that.
Yeah, average is around that over the last 20 years. Great. So that doesn't get you ahead of the 11% of debasement, 8% debasement, 3% inflation. So you're going nowhere. You're locking up money to go nowhere. Okay, it's better than nothing. Gold is the same. Most real estate is the same. So you're like, oh, okay, how the hell do I get out of this trap? Now, you have two answers. One is to invest in yourself and build a business. It's hard, but that's what you have to do. You have to generate cash flow to invest. If not, you can't invest.
Right.
So you need to generate cash flow. So you invest in yourself, build a business, do whatever you can, hustle, work 3 jobs. That's what everybody's doing. But then the real magic is, what do you invest in? And it's basically down to the 2 big mega trends. There's 2 trends that are so obvious. One is technology. Tomorrow is more digital than today.
Yes or no, and then it's a basic yes. It's a no-brainer.
And it'll go up and down at various points, but over time, there's nothing to stop the digitalization of the world. And we're seeing AI as one of those mega trends that goes on top of the internet, etc. The other one, which is actually technology, that's also built on top of the internet, is crypto. But crypto is like having a share of the internet yourself. So imagine how empowering that would have been. Imagine if every person who used Facebook was given a share in Facebook.
Retired.
We'd all be super rich.
Yep.
That's what crypto is. And so you can invest in this, and it goes up at about 100 to 150 to 200% a year, depending what asset, including 3 80% drawdowns. Okay, now you can unfuck your future pretty quickly, because if you've got $1,000, but it goes up 100% a year, it just compounds and compounds and compounds. And now you've got the secret. It's the big secret. It's the big opportunity. It's in fact the biggest opportunity of all time.
Gracias por ver este podcast. Si es que te gustó, dale like y suscríbete al canal, así sabes cuando suban nuevos episodios. Aquí te dejo otro podcast que seguramente te va a gustar, y si quieres irte de largo, un playlist con todos los episodios de Acción Podcast. Que estés bien. Nos vemos la próxima. Chao, chao.